cold and wet day here in Kempton Park, and I'm sure it's pretty much similar around most of Gauteng and probably most of the country. We've had a good response to the webinar today, and I suppose people will log in as they can. We are aware of a number of power outages, I think is the term used today around here. There definitely isn't load shedding, so as people join, we'll carry on. We're not going to wait. I know everyone has strict times, and we all want to get back to what else we've got to do after we've done this. So this morning, we're talking about the Vehicle Cost Index. It's a program that has been run by the Road Freight Association, the RFA, for a number of years. A couple of years ago, you might have known it as the Vehicle Cost Schedule. We did some tweaks to it, not only in the name change, but in the way in which it's done. And so today, you know this as the Vehicle Cost Index. The project manager for the Vehicle Cost Index is Gerard Murray, and Gerard has a team supporting him in ensuring that the data that comes into the index, that the checks and balances, and that the design is rock solid. He has with him Otto van Griethuizen, who's been involved in the Vehicle Cost Index for a number of years and is probably the grandpappy of the index. And Gerard learned a lot from Otto. The reason why we don't let Otto present is he's just going to tell you hunting stories. So we thought, no, we don't have time for that today. We'll allow Otto to regale you with his hunting stories later. Joke, Otto. So we have this Vehicle Cost Index. It's widely used around the country, and it's used by a number of departments. We weren't actually aware we're using it. And there are a number of other indices in the country that use it as well, the values out of that. We've had a number of queries from departments to add various concepts for the types of work that they also put out to transporters. So Gerard, I know it's a very, very heavy topic. It's a very technical topic. And often when people phone and ask, can you quickly help me with this or that? It's not a 5-minute thing. There's a lot of data that needs to go in, and the values that come out are important. Now and then we have members telling us the values that come out are too high, but remember, Gerard will tell you why they are high and how we arrive at those values. So, Gerard, over to you, sir. Platform is yours.
Thank you, Gavin. I appreciate that. And yes, you are perfectly correct. Without the team, I would not be able to run this process. And the input specifically of Otto can never be underestimated. So I just quickly let us start sharing so that we can see. All right, I just want to double check you can see the presentation.
Yes, we can see it.
All right, so we're going to talk about the Vehicle Cost Index. And as Gavin has said, the Vehicle Cost Index is a product of the Road Freight Association. And it was established, I think, in 1989, the first one, and it has been running since then. So let's just have a look and go through the process. What is the Vehicle Cost Index? Now, I've underlined a number of issues there. First of all, the Vehicle Cost Index is a hypothetical model derived from publicly available information using assumptions and a methodology by independent people, meaning that we are not operators. That's the very important thing. That's why it's independent. Now you're going to ask me, what do I mean by hypothetical? It is hypothetical because it's based upon public information and not actual operator cost. There is no operator cost that is utilized. It's all based upon assumptions and then the costing that we get from the OEMs. So nowhere do we utilize any operator cost, because the moment we will start utilizing operator cost, it will no longer be a cost index. So it's very critical that we look at that. Also, we use assumptions and then apply it onto the total geographical area. And as we work through that, you will see what we mean with the geographical area. We cannot, for example, say you are operating within the KwaZulu-Natal area where there is a typography that will generally give you a higher fuel consumption. We utilize a single fuel consumption, and there's an assumption as we get it from the OEM plus a 10%, and that's applied everywhere. So it is not geographical specific, it is for the whole geographical area of South Africa. Very important is the fact that it is public information. We utilize the original equipment manufacturers. We use new equipment prices based upon retail cost. So normally a operator would be able to get some discount or negotiate discount or get discount based upon bulk use. That is not taken into account. We only use OEM prices based upon the stock standard retail cost. And where various OEMs are used, we average those costs out so that we can get a representative figure of what it actually would cost. Then on the assumptions, and I will be spending quite a bit of time in terms of the assumptions, we cannot publish an index if we don't have certain assumptions on which we calculate it. We cannot get to a cost as a cent per kilometer if we do not utilize certain assumptions, because we cannot operate in a vacuum, and we will be going through those assumptions. What is also very important is that the assumptions are the same. Irrespective, it is always the same, because if we change that, then the cost factors would change. So it is exactly the same, and every single VCI that you get published and you pull it off the Road Freight Association's website will have a list of the assumptions published into it. I think it's page 3, and you can see it there. Also, the assumptions are road transport specific, so we base it upon actual OEM information and actual operating processes. So methodology, we cover the industry via various vehicle concepts. In total, we publish some 100 different concepts, and that we'll talk a little bit about that, but we're trying to make the differentiation for you between a drop side, a flat deck, a taut liner, tankers, fuel tankers, tippers, so that you can have as close as possible average costing of that type of vehicle, and then also the various sizes plays a role, and we'll be going through that. One of the most critical elements of the assumptions, and it plays a role into the methodology, is that we need to determine the utilization and the hours of work and overtime. Otherwise, we cannot calculate the cost in terms of that. And we will be spending some time on that so that you can clearly see what it is that what the vehicle utilization is and how we get to the hours and the overtime to determine the cost that is there. And again, we use original equipment manufactured published consumption data, which is then average, so that from that we get to determine what the fuel usage would be. Critical aspect is the exclusions. There's no toll fees at all calculated in here. And there's a simple reason we cannot put a certain percentage on terms of it. We cannot know which route it would be. So toll fees are completely excluded. And because it's a cost index, there's no markup, return of investment, profit margins whatsoever included in there. It's based upon the cost. And then we publish it monthly. Many years ago, it was only published twice a year, and then for a very short period, it was published every 3 months. But because of the changes that we experience in terms of cost, specifically fuel cost, we have decided that we actually publish it now monthly. And that for members of the Road Freight Association, it is loaded up onto our website, and you can pull it off from there. So let's quickly work a little bit through some of that key assumptions and how do we determine it. So first of all, when we work on the truck tractor pricing, we utilize the OEM prices without any discount applied. So it is stock standard published retail pricing. Also, we do the calculation of that based upon a 25% residual, and that's across the board for every vehicle. Now, you would ask me, but why do we do that if that is not necessarily what everybody is doing? From the beginning, we have worked on a residual value, and if we change that assumption now, we cannot do the cost comparison, which is the main purpose of having the VCI there. In terms of our bodies and trailer prices, the OEM, again, with no discount applied, and also here we do not apply any residual value. The cost of capital is the formula that we utilize, and we have explained it there for you. And then the depreciation is calculated also on that process that we have described there. What is also important, and I will be showing to that, is that we do the depreciation of the trucks over a 5-year period, 60 months, and the trailers is done over a 10-year period. If you look at vehicle insurance is calculated based upon your truck, tractor, or prime mover or rigid at 7.5% of the total capital cost. And that is then broken down over the 12 months. And for your trailers, we utilize 5% of the capital cost to do that. The reason why we're utilizing this is every person has got a different risk profile. And this is an average that we then utilize so that it remains the same, and you can actually then compare on that. Our on-vehicle staff is absolutely 100% as per the National Bargaining Council agreement for the road freight logistics industry, and we use the minimum wages as it's negotiated, and that's why there was a change into that costings in March, because the agreement came into effect on the 1st of March. If we continue down there, you will see that our work days, and I will be getting back to that, we use certain assumptions on how much utilization there is, and that utilization results in certain number of hours, a certain number of overtime, and a certain number of living out. But I will be getting back to that. Overheads, there are different types of overheads that we have. Your administrative overheads, your management team salaries and wages, non-vehicle costs, as well as your operational overheads that are applicable, which is not necessarily directly always listed, like you need to have pipes and your couplings, tarpaulins, and so on. That is included, and it works on a fixed 19% of the fixed cost. Whatever that fixed cost is, 19% of that is then the overhead costs that are utilized. License fees, we only use the license fees as applicable to Gauteng, and again, we can't, otherwise we will have 100 times 9 different ones. So we only use the license fees applicable to Gauteng. And then very important in terms of fuel, you will know that, understand that the fuel price, diesel is a non-regulated. So in fact, there's 18 different regions where there's a wholesale listed price published, and people can charge for diesel whatever they would want to within means of being able to sell it, but it's not regulated and prescribed. So what we use the 0.005 sulfur, so 50 ppm diesel, based upon grid 9C, which is the Gauteng grid, and then that price, whatever that wholesale price is, plus 3 cents is utilized. In terms of fuel consumption, again, it is the calculated fuel consumption as supplied by the OEM plus 10%. Now, the reason for the 10% then makes provision that we've got different typography and running conditions across South Africa, and that's why we add the 10%, whatever is the fuel price within Gauteng grid 9C. Lubricants is calculated as a fixed percentage, 25% of the fuel cost. And I will be getting back to all of these costs as we are going through it. So maintenance, truck and truck tractor is calculated based upon supplied by the OEM plus 15%, and body maintenance is at 5 cents and trailers at 10 cents per kilometer. Tire cost, again, new prices as per the OEM, and we do make provision for retreads. The exception is the fuel tankers. On the fuel tankers, we only utilize new tires. And then just to highlight again, no provision is made for other costs, such as toll fees, goods in transit insurance, and etc. And also no provision for vehicle replacements, return on capital investments, and any profit. So that is then the key assumptions that we have. I did mention to you that part of that assumptions is that we will determine what is the annual utilization of the vehicles. So those are the different categories that we utilize, and those utilization is linked to the size of the vehicles. And I will show that to you when I get to the actual vehicle cost index page where you can really see it in working. So it is based upon, if that is the assumption of utilization per annum, that would be the kilometers per month. That is the number of days in per annum that you would be running. That's the number of days per month. And then based upon that, this is the overtime that is then applicable Monday to Friday. So you can see that a vehicle with 54,000 utilization, 54,000 kilometers utilization will have 1 hour overtime on a Monday to a Friday. But a 140,000 kilometer utilization vehicle will have 20 hours overtime Monday to Friday. Saturdays 10, Sundays 8, total of 38. Now I do know that is not necessarily what the working is that you find in your own operations. But the purpose is not to determine what it is in your operation. This is to set a benchmark so that the average person can see what it is, and we measure the costing based upon that. That's why it's so very critical that people should never see the vehicle cost index as a pricing schedule. And Gavin alluded to that in the beginning. We often get phone calls saying, please can you tell me what is the average price for a 8-tonner vehicle? And the answer is, there is no average price for an 8-tonner. Most certainly the Road Freight Association cannot, I repeat, cannot give a price in terms of the averaging. The moment we would do that, we would be in contravention of the competition laws of South Africa, and it would be a major disaster. We can give you, based upon the sizes and the assumed kilometer utilization, what the average cost would be. But it is the cost to compare with how the cost increase with each other, and I will be showing that to you later very specifically how that is done. So very important, vehicle cost index is not a pricing mechanism. Even though we work it back to a cents per kilometer, it is all about the cost so that one can see what has happened with the cost over time. And this is a very critical element, because you will see that your cost of your labor is normally your second biggest cost in your operating environment. And we can only determine that if we know what the overtimes would be and what the night outs would be. And that is the assumption on how we get to that. So the different vehicle concepts that I have touched upon previously, as I said, we do for some 100 different vehicle concepts, and they are divided into 9 groups, and there's a maximum of 19 different sizes applicable. So the application groups would be your drop sides, van bodies, taut liners, flatbeds, tippers, tankers, fuel tankers, fridge, low bed, and furniture. And then we've got everything from rigids, divided in terms of how much mass they can carry, up to your 4x2s and your 6x4s, and then with the different trailers, whether it's a single, whether it's a dual, whether it's a triaxle, whether it's a drawbars, or whether it's interlinked combinations. And all of that make up the 100 different vehicle concepts. And as I said, each concept has a predetermined utilization figure assigned to it, so that we can determine the cost and calculate it based upon that. So just a picture to show you all the different concepts. So your drop side will start typically from your bakkie down to your 18, which is your interlink that we can see there, your interlink trailer there, and that is then utilized across with your van bodies, your tankers, your flatbeds, your tippers, your tankers, and we've included the 2 fuel tankers there, and then your fridges, your low beds, and your furnitures. And all of them has got then a reference number, and that's the concept. It's a drop site 1 or a van body 1 or a taut liner 1, or there isn't a taut liner 1, but a taut liner 4. And that is how we reference each one of them when we calculate each and every one. So now we get actually to the real important part of it, because this is what the final product actually look like. And you will see that this product has got 3 very distinctive areas. Now, first of all, you will see that this is edition 12 based upon January 2023. I've just utilized that one when I added it in. The latest one is the edition 38, which is March 2025. As I've said, it is published every single month, and you can then start comparing it. So first of all, this little picture here and the picture there will tell you what this vehicle is, and it is a Concept 18, and this is a drop side body. And in here you get just a representation of what are the percentages of cost. Now, one of the most common questions that we immediately get is that people say, my fuel and oil is much higher than the 38.5% that you have stated here. And you're 100% correct. It could be much higher, and it will be much higher, first of all, based upon what is your annual kilometers. So on here, you can see the annual kilometers is 140,000 that has been applied. And if I take you back to that figure, you remember that on 140,000 utilization, we work upon 20 hours normal overtime, Monday to Friday, 10 hours on a Saturday, 8 hours on a Sunday, and 5 living hours. So that immediately then impact all your labor costs as it is reflected there. But if I would change that, and we do have a concept whereby we can do it, and I will explain that later, where we can change some of the figures for an individual operator which wants to see what their costings would be. If I would change that to 200,000 kilometers, these figures will immediately change. That's the first element. The second one that you need to realize is that all your costings here are based upon new retail pricing. And remember that this percentage is out of 100. So it is a split of the total cost. So if you don't have new vehicles, that cost would be lower, which automatically will make the percentage lower. So this is when you have stock standard new vehicles into place. So what is very important here is that you can see that your biggest cost factor is fuel and oil. Secondly would be your vehicle staff, as I've mentioned right in the beginning. And thirdly, it's actually your purchasing of your equipment and your financing, your depreciation, which links together with your finance costs. That 3 elements makes up your biggest cost factor. And all 3 of that elements you actually have got very little control about, because fuel is a wholesale listed price. You do have a little bit in terms of what you can maybe as an operator go and negotiate with your fuel supplier. But again, we utilize the Gauteng 9C grid plus 3 cent as our fuel price. Vehicle cost is determined by whatever is in the National Bargaining Council and the minimum wages and applicable allowances, and that is then applied utilizing the assumptions on that utilization. And then your depreciation comes from the price of your vehicle, which we utilize the retail average pricing, and your finance cost comes from whatever is the prevailing prime interest rate. So of the 3, you don't have a great number of impact. In the end, it's about how well you can manage your cost and How you can do that is by the comparisons, which I will explain. Your second important element is then whatever is happening in here. And here you can find then the actual prices. So in January 2023, the cost price of this type of prime mover was 2.6 million. And there's the residual value, and then the financing cost that was done over the 5 years at the applicable interest rate at the time, which was 10.8, and then we will calculate it from there. License cost is based upon what that tier is, and remember I said it's based upon the Gauteng costing, the insurance based upon the 7.5, and here's the tires. That was the retail average price of a new tire, and we also tell you there on what tire type it is utilized. And then it just gives you over the lifespan, the number of tires, number of retreads, and all of that is what end up in your costing that we will describe onto the left-hand side shortly. So here's your trailer exactly. It's the first and the second trailer combined at that costing, no residual value, the same interest rate cost as you can see there, and your depreciation, this time it's over 10 years, where that one is over 5 years, and your insurance cost here is your 5% versus your 7.5 on top. And again, your license cost based upon the Gauteng licenses for your first trailer and your second trailer. And then we do the same based upon your tires and your number of retreads, and then calculate it. A very important thing, and I know this is sometimes controversial, but every single vehicle runs on a driver and an assistant. Now, I know you're going to tell me assistance is rare today, but when it was started, it was worked with an assistant. Also remember that this is determining the cost. So if you measure the cost constantly with a driver and an assistant, your percentage increase would be the same. And that's actually what we're looking at in the end. So even though you don't have an assistant, and yes, that vehicle costing stuff could then be slightly lower, which will impact your other percentages, that is your own unique situation. For the average one that we utilize, there's always a driver and an assistant included. And yes, you are correct if you start frowning upon that, because that's a cost to company cost for a driver in January 2023 of 40,000. If you look at March 2025, that figure is already up on the same assumption of 140,000 kilometers per annum, up to 48,700. So it's not the take-home pay, that's a cost you as a company would have, and your assistant or general worker would then be your 24. Remember, that is also based upon the night outs and the overtime that is applicable. Then we just split it in terms of your fixed cost and your variable cost. And here is the utilization figures that you can see. Right at the bottom there, very important, because that indicates to you each concept, what is your maximal total laden mass on which everything has been calculated. So that is your 56 tons, which is then the applicable legal one if everything is correct. I know there are different measures by which you can calculate that, but just for average purposes, we're talking about that. Then we get to this portion, which is your left-hand side, where we start breaking down the cost in terms of the total cost and then your rand per kilometer. Now remember that your rand per kilometer comes from the utilization figures that we have. So if you change that, your cents per kilometers will change, and that's why you can never utilize this cents per kilometers as a pricing mechanism, because the kilometers will differ. This is based upon this specific assumptions. And then it's the cost of capital, your depreciation, which is your purchasing prices, your insurance, your on-vehicle staff, your overheads, your licenses, and then other, because there isn't, is zero. And we then work that as a CPK and then as a percentage of your fixed cost. So remember now, that cost percentage is not the same as this one, because this measures back to your percentage of your total fixed cost. And here then we go in terms of your fuel, your lubricants, your maintenance, and your tires. And again, we break it down as a rand per kilometer as well as a percentage. And if you start looking now onto this column here, this figures here would be the same figures that you find here. Fuel and oil, the 38.9 would be the 37.9 plus the 0.9. Remember, we work only show the first decimal. If you now add the second decimal, that's why that will throw it to 38.9. And that combined is then that combined, but 76.7% is your percentage of your variable cost, and that is broken down. Now, it's important that these figures, because when I get to your comparisons on how you utilize it, you can then see how that is done. Then we break down to your cost per day and cost per hour. And then probably the most important area which people tend to forget. This shows you what has happened with the costing based upon an increase year on year, as well as from the previous edition, which would be 1 month. So if you look at that, the total annual fixed cost, annualized January 2023 compared to January 2022 was a 12.5% increase. Month on month, that was a 3.4% increase. If you look at your total variable cost, including fuel, you will see it was at 20% over a year, but you will see it was a drop from December 22 to January 2023, simply because there was a drop in the fuel price. But over the year, it was a massive increase. And then we just exclude the fuel for you as well, because quite often people will have a separate calculation on their fuel. And this is the indexes that we say could be very useful when you need to negotiate with your client, because these figures are independently calculated and is not your figure that you say in your operations, and that makes it a very useful figure so that you can utilize it. So if you want to say, how do I then actually utilize it? So first of all, your VCI can agree with your customers, and then you actually utilize these debates here. That's one. Two, you could utilize that fuel and oil, but remember that is not necessarily representative of your fuel percentage. You will have to show your specific one in terms of that. Then it is a true reflection of what is happening to the cost in the industry, and it makes provision for the different vehicle concepts. So you can utilize that to actually show your customer what your annual increases could or should be like, and you can negotiate that. Also, we utilize it to explain the cost pressures experienced in the industry. I'll take you back here. If you start talking about here, including fuel, on an annual basis from January 2022 to January 2023, there was a 20% increase in the variable cost. That's not what CPI or anything was compared to other industries. So it's very useful, but be careful, because remember, fuel price goes up and it goes down. So on a monthly basis, you will see it has dropped. And if I look at the March 2025, I can tell you that compared to March 2024, the variable cost, including fuel and oil, has dropped with 6.7%. So that gives you a very good indication on how you can utilize that. And it's just your annual cost, including and excluding fuel as well. The RFA utilized it also in our lobbying functions. But then I want to get to the two very important aspects, which is the last points that I want to highlight to you. Quite often, as part of our SMME program, we utilize the VCI for our SMMEs or people coming into the industry the first time to highlight to them what are the typical types of costs that they can have. And because it's the average one retail pricing, it gives them a sense of what it is so that they can start working before they make the decision to say, I want to join this industry or not. But when they need to do their pricing, they need to have and apply their own figures. And and you will see there that's a service that we provide by the RFA for our SMMEs. So we sit down with SMEs on an individual basis and look at the costings that they have to see how we can assist them to get it better. And why it's done as individually, because we can never mix that individual processes with the VCI. But when they start off, we often will take them to the VCI and say, start having a look at that. And then very important, it's company specific. Now that company specific is on 2 levels. First of all, and I'm taking you back here, is that you can look at this percentage changes that has happened by taking your tire cost actual, what you have had over the same period compared to the tire growth that is published in the VCI. And if I now go and have a look at the January 2022, because that figure will be there, I can calculate what the tire growth has been. And let's just for assumption purpose now say the VCI say your tires increased over the year by comparing that figure with the January 2022 figure was 10%. And you compare that now back to your actual operations, and your actual operations shows an increase of 15%. Then there's a problem in your operations and you need to go and find out why. It could be a valid reason, maybe based upon the type of area that you run on. So you need to have a look at that. If it is lower, don't just think that, well, now it's all fine. You need to understand why it is fine so that you can keep maintaining that. So that's a very useful element where you can utilize the comparative costing. And remember, it must be on the percentage base, not on the rand value, because your assumptions would be different than what the assumptions are that we are having here. The last one that I want to touch upon is that we also have got a process, and it is not available to any of the members. It has to be done with me and my team, whereby we provide you with an input sheet and you give your costings. And that costings is reflective of the costings that we see here. But it would be your cost price. It would be your interest rates. And then we can change that figures. And we can give you this calculation based upon your own unique information. We don't save that and we don't share that. We calculate it and we give it to you as a company so that you can utilize it by then comparing your own circumstances with what it was previously. And if you do that on a regular basis, once a year of every quarter or every 6 months, you will have a very good understanding of what is happening in your costings so that you can utilize it to the best of your ability. And the very last thing is, what is the critical factors for the VCI? First of all, accuracy and integrity of the information is most important, and we're constantly checking that. We keep record of what we were supplied with by each of the OEMs so that we can prove what the costs were at any given time. 2, no operator information is utilized at all. We only use the OEM information, the assumptions that I've explained, and then the calculations is done based upon that. You can only do calculation based upon the broad use and not specific, because this is an index. So the industry, you need to make sure that you understand your own cost and that you track your own cost. Each customer, each industry will be different, but this is a broad overview of what is happening on a typical average operator. And then very lastly, very importantly, it must be widely and generally accepted. That is the biggest strength. And as Gavin has mentioned in his introduction, we have found out more places where our VCI are actually utilized that we didn't even know, which is indicative of how wide it is being used in general. And I think if you really apply that, it could be a very good resource that you can utilize. Lastly, I have put in my contact details there. Please mail me if you have got questions. or phone me, and me and my team will see how we can assist you so that you can be the best operator within your own environment. Gavin, that is, I think I am exactly 5 minutes early, but at least I'm within the time frame. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gerard. If you want to read out your cell number and your email address, you might be able to get yourself to 2:45. Now, thanks very much, Gerard. Greatly appreciated. I know for some people this is quite a heavy subject to get your head around, but it is an important subject. We have a couple of questions. The first question is, what is NT hours per week?
Normal time.
Okay,
it
so
stands for
obviously
normal time. So
your presentation
before it's overtime.
All right, so hopefully that assists that question. Another question we had was, would you be able to help me one-on-one in terms of costings for my vehicle? Can this index be adapted?
The answer is yes, subject. And the subject is you must be a member of the Road Freight Association. If you're a member of the Road Freight Association, we will gladly help you. And amended, what I mean with amended, there is certain of the elements that we can change, but the calculation method will not change. It's only the values, which is your inputs, that we can change so that you can have a very good comparison with what the VCI say based upon your individual cost. And that is the service that we do supply for our members.
Next question we had was, how often does this come out? I'm sure you said it in your presentation. Maybe you just want to say it again.
Yes, it is published every month. It's normally at least published within the first week of the new month, because we normally compile in the last week, and then there's a checking process that it goes through. And yeah, sometimes there are issues that we just need to verify and check. And once it is then done, it is uploaded onto the RFA website, and members, as I said, can pull it off there as many times as they want to, but it's published once a month.
All right. Next question. What do the kilograms on the concept sheet refer to? Is it TE? Is it GVM? So that's the first part of the question.
That would be the TE, because we utilize that for the license costing.
Okay, so it's TE. Second part of the question, where would an 8-ton vehicle fall? Concept 3 or 4?
Oh, I will need to go and check that. I don't have one now right in front of me. Hang on, let me just quickly go here and see if I can quickly get that there.
You can always get back to that one, Gerard.
Yeah, if I can, I need to just go and have a look on that. I cannot remember offhand which one it is.
Right. We've got the identification of the individual who sent the query, and we can always send that answer back.
Yes.
The team here are making notes. The next question that's handed to me, can one driver physically do 11,700 odd kilometers per month, including loading and unloading of the truck?
Well, I know of operators that run close to 16 to 20 kilometers, 1,000 kilometers in a month. It depends upon what their loading concepts are and how much they work. But remember, you're only allowed to work a maximum of 15 hours per day, loading everything included, and a driver must have a 9-hour rest period. So I know about a number of operators that work on an average of 11.5 to 13.5 as stock standard what they can do. So the answer is yes, you can do that with a single driver.
I think the important thing is to everyone on the chat is that when you take this VCI, that you import your data. This is important. You can't just take it as it is published. And there is a process to do that, and that's a chat you need to have with Gerard or the team. There's another question. Will there be incorporation of electric vehicles in the VCI for the future? That's a good question.
At this stage, there are so little then that it is not planned. What we do have, and we've just had a request, and we are working on that, is, for example, we are now working on to bring a LPG trailer into place. We are looking at that. But if there is sufficient growth of that type of vehicle, then most certainly one would look at that. But at this stage, electric vehicles are not sufficient for us to actually do that.
I suppose the answer there is yes, it would be when the need arises,
When
the
applicable.
demand arises. Yes, yes. Okay, I haven't had any more questions passed across to me. Oh, here's another question. I'm an RFA member. Where do I get the VCI?
On the website.
Okay. So it is part, I wanted Gerard to answer that. It is part of your membership that you get free with your RFA membership. You don't have to pay for that. Okay. I think that's it. It's just the one around the 3 or the 4 ton that we will then get back to the person who asked that question. If you can give us the answer on that. Gerard, thank you so much for your time today in terms of discussing that. I know he sits here at the office quite often getting calls and helping people to work through the VCI. It is a very, very good tool. To everyone who was on the chat this morning, thank you for giving your time to be with us. Thank you for the questions. I'm just checking. The lady's getting more questions now. Thank you very much. We really appreciate you being members of the RFA and interact with the RFA and with the VCI. And there are a couple of indexes we do, like the incident index as well, which is quite eye-opening. Once again, stay safe, stay warm. Thank you very much. Cheerio, everybody.